Tonight, new from the White House, tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum could be doubled. Justin Trudeau promises a firm and clear tariff response.
Tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum would be entirely unjustified.
That message amplified by premiers in Washington, D.C. We are right there. Plus, the impact on small businesses, families, and jobs. We're with those in Canadian communities fearing the worst.
My wife said to me, "This is making my stomach churn."
What they're doing to us is it's not right.
Amid new concerns for hostages held by Hamas, Trump's new provocations about the future of Gaza.
The Palestinians, or the people that live now in Gaza, will be living beautifully in another location.
Reaction from a White House guest, the King of Jordan.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrienne Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. As is quickly becoming the norm, there's fresh worry and confusion tonight about Donald Trump's tariff threats. The steel and aluminum industries are bracing for a 25% hit next month, but the White House now says that number could double. Remember, Trump has already put broader 25% Canadian tariffs on pause. So if those go ahead, the new ones could stack right on top. Even more incentive for those scrambling to prevent them. Premiers are converging on Washington, the Prime Minister vowing to respond. And in an open letter, 5 former prime ministers are calling on Canadians to fly the maple leaf this Saturday, Flag Day, as never before. At an international summit in Paris, Justin Trudeau took his concerns directly to the U.S. Vice President. Ashley Burke with his message.
At a summit in Paris, the Prime Minister pushing back against Donald Trump's latest threat.
Tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum would be entirely unjustified. We are the U.S.'s closest ally. Our economies are integrated.
A message he took directly to U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. The event's cameras only briefly caught their exchange in this crowd of world leaders away from the media. Trudeau's photographer close enough to take photos. A Canadian official says the Prime Minister mentioned to Vance the impact of tariffs in his home state, Ohio. Trudeau's publicly warned that a trade war will only drive up American costs. In the U.S., Ohio is the biggest exporter of goods to Canada, and it's where Trump's promising to revive American steelmaking jobs.
We will be working with the American administration over the coming weeks to highlight the negative impacts on Americans and Canadians of these unacceptable tariffs. And if it comes to that, our response, of course, will be firm and clear.
But Trudeau isn't revealing details.
We reciprocate dollar for dollar with tariffs on aluminum and steel.
As usual, we hope that it will not come to that.
Vance also isn't saying if Canada could get an exemption.
Why are you slapping tariffs on steel and aluminum? Why are you slapping tariffs?
The Trump administration believes that
this AI summit, his first international trip to represent Trump's next era of America First on the world stage.
The United States of America is the leader in AI, and our administration plans to keep it that way.
Trudeau says he's speaking to other countries to coordinate a response. The Prime Minister will leave Paris to head to Brussels on Wednesday to sit down with European Union leaders who are also bracing for tariffs to hit them too. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Paris.
While the Prime Minister piles on the pressure in Paris, Canada's premiers are descending on Washington. Katie Simpson with their message to Americans and what details we know about that possible new tariff math.
Hi. How are you? Very good.
Canada's premiers trying to get as much face time as they can with influential Americans.
We work with United
Quebec's
States
Francois Legault spreading the anti-tariff message to leaders in the home building industry.
We are a good ally of the Americans.
Ontario's Doug Ford preaching to the choir, speaking to a largely Canadian audience hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
Let's stick together and please get the message to President Trump. This is not a good idea.
The multi-day push comes as new worrying details emerge about the president's tariff proposal. A White House official speaking on background tells CBC News if 25% tariffs on Canadian goods kick in March 4th as threatened, the new steel and aluminum tariffs would be stacked on top starting March 12th, meaning Canadian steel and aluminum could be hit by a 50% tariff rate.
We need a strong mandate.
Even before that news, Canada's premiers openly acknowledging they're facing an uphill battle.
Let's all face it, there's no secret. President Trump is probably one of the best negotiators in the world. This is his area of expertise.
Sometimes in politics and business, you have to deal with shifting sand, but this is like quicksand under our feet. We have a lot of big signings, good signings.
Since taking office, Donald Trump's position on tariffs has only hardened.
This is the beginning of making America rich again.
Though he's yet to make good on his threats against Canada, analysts suspect he's not likely to back down anytime soon.
At this point, unfortunately, I think you're going to have to see pain. It's when you start seeing stock markets go down, when you start seeing vehicle plants close. This is a case where, unfortunately, President Trump has to touch the hot stove before he realizes how valuable and integrated this relationship is.
The premiers are trying to cut through the noise of this volatile moment in America with so much change. They'll get a little help from Canada's finance minister, Dominic LeBlanc. He's going to be meeting with Howard Lutnick, according to a senior Canadian government source. He's the incoming commerce secretary who is a very pro-tariff voice around the president.
So, Katie, I know you've been speaking with your sources. What's the mood heading into all these meetings?
There is a really long road ahead for Canada. The first tariff deadline is March 4th. And according to another senior Canadian government source, the thinking in Ottawa is Trump won't likely make his final decision until March 3rd. And it's going to take a slow build of conversations like the one planned with Howard Lutnick to try to find some sort of landing zone where Canada can get out of this tariff-free.
All right, sleeves rolled up. Katie Simpson in Washington, thank you.
Thanks.
So let's bring in Peter Armstrong now for a closer look at how these tariffs could actually play out. Peter, why don't we start with American businesses?
So the key message from Donald Trump has been that he's defending the U.S. steel industry, steel workers in America. And that industry is obviously on board. They saw what happened last time. Steel prices went up, production went up like 15%, and more than 1,000 jobs were added just to industries that make steel in the United States.
What about, okay, those are the ones that make the steel, but then there are all these companies, these American companies that use steel.
To make stuff.
Right.
And that's where the damage was done, right? So when the tariffs kicked in 2018, that drove up the price of steel. Great for the steel makers, lousy for anybody who uses it to make stuff. There's a well-reported example of a factory that uses Canadian steel to make nails in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Their prices went up, it ate into their bottom line. They make nails for construction. They don't have a lot of wiggle room here. They stockpiled before the tariffs kicked in, but eventually they had to start laying off workers. That story happened across the country, big and small companies. Two economists kind of broke down the numbers in 2020 to get a look at what had really happened and found, sure, it was great for steel makers, but those who use it lost 75,000 jobs. So compare that. 1,000 jobs added, that's great. 75,000 jobs lost, that's not a great net benefit.
So, given all that, if you bring it back to Canada, certainly how this goes down in the United States, I mean, is going to have a huge impact here.
Huge, and we know the playbook there as well, right? As tariffs kick in, those American customers will look for non-Canadian, non-tariffed substitutes. If they find those, that'll draw down demand here. That's bad for business, and businesses will suffer. But there's another thing to think about here in terms of business investment. It was already pretty weak in Canada. Even the threat of tariffs is driving investment away from Canada into the United States. That's bad for business here. It's bad for Canadian businesses. It's bad for Canadian workers.
Great. All right, Peter Armstrong, thank you.
You bet.
So Canada's been trying to change Trump's mind about imposing tariffs for weeks now, including by promising to appoint a fentanyl czar. Well, we now know former RCMP Deputy Commissioner Kevin Brosseau will take that job. The government says he'll work closely with U.S. counterparts to accelerate Canada's efforts to detect and dismantle the fentanyl trade. While tariffs on steel would be felt broadly, some Canadian cities will face the brunt of it. One of those is Sault Ste. Marie. Tonight, Lisa Shing takes us into the Ontario community where many fear their livelihoods are legitimately on the line.
For the workers here at Algoma Steel, there's a sense of unease and betrayal.
What they're doing to us is it's not right. And I mean, it's basically hurting your little brother.
Especially since they've been through it once before. During his first term, Donald Trump slapped similar tariffs on steel and aluminum. Steel exports fell. Dozens of workers laid off.
If there is layoffs as the worst case scenario, it would affect a lot of people here.
Algoma is a major driver of the local economy. It's the city's largest employer. About 2,700 people work here. Hundreds more are contractors.
I like my pork belly.
Which means when times are bad for those workers, other businesses feel it too.
I think everyone in this city, for that matter, actually knows someone or a friend of someone who works there.
After living in Toronto for a few years,
I'm gonna go this way.
John Armstrong moved back to the Soo to open Ernie's.
It's more so the aftermath, the ripple effect, the long term.
It won't just be this community that feels the effects. The St. Mary's River here is an international border, and on the other side is a city that goes by the same name, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And less money for people on this side means less spending on both sides.
A place like Sault, Michigan is dependent on Canadian retail dollars.
And if the tariffs are prolonged, an even bigger impact because steel supplies so many other industries.
That gets you into a recession. We don't know yet, right? But if it gets to that level, you're into actually a recession.
Algoma's CEO, the union, and city officials are all urging the federal government to retaliate with counter tariffs, something they say forced Trump's hand all those years ago. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Earlier today, I was in Hamilton, Canada's biggest steel-producing city, to dig deeper into how these potential tariffs are already hitting home.
It's 25% today. Who knows if it's going to be 40% tomorrow, 50% the day after. And it just creates a very difficult business environment.
My conversation with the city's mayor and industry leaders coming up in about 20 minutes. Well, turning to other major news tonight out of the White House and Donald Trump's vision for Gaza. He laid it out today alongside the King of Jordan, who suggested other plans may be in the works, all as a looming deadline threatens a return to war. Paul Hunter unravels it all from Washington.
From the get-go, it was clear there was plenty on the agenda for U.S. President Donald Trump and Jordan's King Abdullah.
Are you confident you can get the king on board with your plan for the Palestinian people? He's a great man.
This is Gaza's devastation. Trump's proposal is to relocate the roughly 2 million Palestinians who still call this home and send them to other Arab countries and beyond permanently. So the U.S. could then redevelop Gaza, as Trump has put it, as a kind of Riviera. With Abdullah listening on, Trump clarifying the U.S. would not buy Gaza, but
we're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East.
Trump has insisted both Jordan and Egypt would have to provide land for Gazans, something both strongly oppose. When asked his thoughts on all of it, Abdullah was circumspect.
We have to look at the best interests of the United States, of the people in the region, especially to my people of Jordan, and we're going to have some interesting discussions today.
In Jordan, already home for decades to some 2 million Palestinian refugees, Trump was labeled an arrogant narcissist. Donald Trump's mentality is from the Middle Ages, said this Palestinian Jordanian. He deals with things like a real estate broker. In Gaza, word from Hamas itself was blunt. Trump's comments about Gaza, this Hamas spokesman told CBC News, are rejected. Meanwhile, the ceasefire in Gaza teeters dangerously. Hamas is threatening to stop releasing hostages, arguing Israel has reneged on its pledge to allow in aid. In turn, Trump is now demanding all remaining hostages freed by Saturday, all of them.
They either have them out by Saturday at 12 o'clock or all bets are off.
Those comments underlined by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Adrian, though it's unclear whether he's demanding all of them out by the weekend or just the next group of hostages. Either way, he's ordered the Israeli military to now prepare for renewed fighting.
So where does this leave the future of Gaza?
Yeah, well, setting aside whether the war starts up again this weekend, on Gaza, there's now word from Jordan of what's described as an Arab-Egyptian plan to rebuild Gaza while keeping Palestinians in Gaza, a plan Egypt is expected to put to Donald Trump. A great many moving pieces on this right now, Adrian.
Indeed. Paul Hunter tonight in Washington. And there was quite the White House scene later in the day in the Oval Office. Elon Musk defending his role as an agent of government cuts, a task he's been given without Senate confirmation.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
As a seated Donald Trump watched, the world's richest man, accompanied by his son, accused some bureaucrats of corruption. Musk is facing mounting criticism and lawsuits for what some see as an overreach of DOGE, his Department of Government Efficiency. It wasn't formally announced until after the election. Well, here in Canada, the RCMP has released the identities of 4 people killed in a Saskatchewan community last week. Officials say they released the names to help further the investigation. 2 men and 2 women were found dead on February the 4th, all inside a home on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation, east of Regina. Police say all 4 were, quote, injured by firearm, and that it appears the home was targeted. No one has been arrested in the case. Well, doctors in one Ontario region are warning about a sharp rise in flu cases tonight, and it's far from alone. Numbers are up across large parts of Canada. Jennifer Yoon explains.
Flu season usually winds down this time of year, but behind these walls in a Niagara, Ontario hospital, the number of flu patients doctors are treating is on the rise.
We haven't seen influenza like this since at least the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic.
We're seeing more beds being occupied. We're seeing more ICU beds needed for flu cases.
Across the country, roughly 1 in 5 flu tests are coming back positive. British Columbia and Quebec are also being hit hard. Quebec reported over 4,600 cases last week, including intensive care treatments for some kids.
This is basically influenza doing what influenza does. It just happens to be that we're seeing a lot of cases right now.
Researchers say this year's flu vaccine is moderately effective, reducing the risk of infection by about half. Plus, they're seeing more cases with worrying variants.
Those variants show some mutations that are known to facilitate viral escape from immunity. In other words, may be contributing end of season toward greater mismatch with the vaccine.
There's another downside to this relatively late flu season.
Most people get their flu shots early, September, October, November, and you really only get 3 months of really strong protection from symptomatic infection. So when the peak comes later, like February, most people are past that 3 months of protection.
And because the virus hasn't peaked yet, this message from public health officials for those who haven't yet.
It's not too late to get vaccinated.
Experts say a 50% reduction in the chance of getting sick with the flu is better than none at all, especially for those most vulnerable to severe illness, older folks, the very young, and pregnant women. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
People in Nova Scotia dealt with thousands of unplanned power outages last year, according to a CBC News analysis.
You don't know when it's going to go out or for how long it's going to be back. That just adds to the uncertainties.
What's being done to fix the problem next? Plus, the resilience of a community under the threat of Donald Trump's tariffs.
Donald Trump has said, listen, your problems would go away if you would just move your business to the United States.
I would say that's a non-starter for us.
The view from Steeltown. And later, how far would you go for the perfect shot?
It's just the adrenaline you get from being in the water, being on the edge of death.
A photographer gets his close-up with some of the world's biggest waves. We're back in 2. So this is new surveillance video that's just been released showing the moment on Monday that a private jet crashed into a parked plane after skidding off the runway at a Scottsdale, Arizona airport. A member of the flight crew was killed in that crash. The 3 other people on board suffered serious injuries. The cause of the collision still under investigation. Now to a new CBC News analysis from Nova Scotia. That province had at least one unplanned power outage nearly every day last year. Nicholas again shows us how people get by when power is not guaranteed.
When the power goes out, David Meister doesn't just have himself to worry about. His watering system, fences, and barn cleaner are all electric, so farming gets a lot harder.
You don't know when it's going to go out or for how long it's going to be back. That just adds to the uncertainty.
He uses gas-powered generators to try to keep things on track, just like other Nova Scotians all too used to this scramble. A CBC News analysis identified more than 4,700 power outages in Nova Scotia last year, with a median 65 customers affected each time. There was just one day all year where the power stayed on for everyone.
There should be months on end without outages. I'd say it sounds like a tremendous number of outages in terms of frequency.
Nova Scotia Power has been fined 4 times since 2019 for falling short of some performance standards. It says trees on power lines, high winds, and fires are top outage causes.
Reliability has definitely been challenged by the increase of the severe and frequent storms.
The outages are everywhere, but people in rural areas say they're hit especially hard.
Normally out here in the boonies, the first time the wind blows, there's a tree across the line, and then we're like days getting our power back.
In the next 5 years, Nova Scotia Power plans to spend $1.3 billion on power reliability upgrades, including nearly doubling what it spends yearly on tree trimming.
We're out cutting trees every single day. We're replacing power poles. We're replacing the equipment on top of the poles and really modernizing the grid to improve reliability going forward.
Meister says the work in his area seems to be paying off so far, and he's hoping his lights will stay on all winter. Nicholas Sagan, CBC News, New Ross, Nova Scotia.
4 great hockey powers are set to face off best on best for supremacy on ice.
I think the bottom line is that we're all proud to be Canadian.
How players are dealing with trade tensions, the non-hockey variety. Plus, we'll go to Hamilton, Ontario, where Trump's tariff threats are already hitting hard.
Would you anticipate layoffs right away? And how many? I would say there has been some already.
A frank conversation on the immediate impact.
Is there anything that can happen in the next few weeks to make a difference?
The search for solutions in a city where steel runs deep. And bracing for impact.
Every business is going to be affected.
Sam Sampson visits a community on edge. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
Happens every time.
So this year's Juno Award nominations are out. 2 artists are tied with 5 nominations overall. Pop star Tate McRae and country singer Josh Ross. CBC will broadcast the Junos on March 30th, hosted by Michael Bublé in Vancouver. Well, the classic hockey rivalry, Team Canada versus Team USA, takes place Saturday in Montreal, part of the much-anticipated 4 Nations face-off tournament. But with new tariff threats from Washington, could we hear more booing of the U.S. anthem? Douglas Gellivan is there talking politics both on and off the ice.
International Best on Best hockey is back here at the 4 Nations face-off, and the anticipation is off the charts here at the Bell Centre in Montreal. Now, for many of the players here, this is a first. Canada hasn't iced its best team since 2016, and it's also happening at a moment when tensions between Canada and the United States are high.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into that, but whatever the situation, just incredibly proud to represent my country in a sport that means a lot to a lot of people across the country.
Anthems are to pay respect for the veterans that gave their lives so that we had freedom. So I think that people should respect anthems at all times.
I think the bottom line is that we're all proud to be Canadian, and we're all going to throw that jersey on with pride, and we're going to do our best to make our country proud.
The Americans may have the strongest team on paper at this tournament, so perhaps it's no surprise that they're focusing all their attention on this and nothing off the ice.
That's politics. We're here to play hockey.
We're not focused on that. We understand what's going on, but again, our focus is on hockey.
Everybody here is professionals. Everybody here has played in environments that have been hostile before. So Canada's, having played there my whole career, it's, very passionate hockey fans. It's the #1 sport in the country, and you kind of expect that.
They're not going to like us too much, and I think when you're playing the villain a little bit, it feels that much better when you end up winning.
Villains, heroes, politics, national pride, it's all at play here at the Four Nations face-off. Hockey is just a game, but this time it feels like much more is at play. But the time for talk is over now. Where the story goes from here is up to the players on the ice. Douglas Gellivan, CBC News, Montreal.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. So tonight, we'll take you to Canada's steel capital to hear from worried workers with devastating tariffs on the horizon. This city, Hamilton, is squarely in the sights of Donald Trump. The economy is built on steel, has been for more than a century. The National has come here to dig into the impact of tariffs on Steel Town with the people who live and work here.
My wife said to me, "This is making my stomach churn."
In a moment, this industrial hub braces for the worst, from the factory floor to the family restaurant.
I think you just got 4 years of chaos where he's just going to cause all sorts of problems.
What does Hamilton do now? I met the city's mayor and 2 steel industry insiders in Hamilton to talk about it.
Thank you very much. So we're sitting here in a warehouse full of the stuff, the steel that kind of makes this city's heartbeat, Hamilton. And as mayor, I know you're worried about the city. And don't sugarcoat it, but if we're staring down tariffs and possibly counter tariffs, what happens here on day one?
We already have a difficulty when it comes to affordability in the city. If we see massive layoffs, that's not only going to impact, the primary and secondary steelmaking that happens here and those companies and those workers, but it'll ripple through the rest of our economy.
Would you anticipate layoffs right away? And how many?
I would say there have been some already. Orders have dried up on the dockets of a number of companies. They've told me that already. And so there have been some layoffs. Now, some of those companies are a little bit cyclical in terms of their production, but it's troubling. The signs are very troubling.
So Rahim, that probably speaks to your reality because you run a small steel firm, and you've already, just the threat of tariffs have already had a cost for you, right?
Absolutely. I think just the threat of the tariffs led to order cancellations from our American distributors, and our Canadian distributors decided to stop taking new orders from the U.S. as well too. So although it's still early days, we're already experiencing about a 25% sales drop to start the year.
And as a layperson, it's not enough to just sort of ship more stuff early. That doesn't do it. That doesn't help, right?
No, unfortunately, our American distributors no longer want to take possession of the goods because their concern as well too is having a consistent supplier. It's very difficult to manage a business environment when the prices could change drastically overnight. I mean, it's 25% today. Who knows if it's going to be 40% tomorrow, 50% the day after. And it just creates a very difficult business environment.
So we hear lots of talk about the prospect of counter tariffs, and there is this emotional desire to punch back, and I think that satisfies the emotional desire. But if Canada were to hold back on the counter tariffs and let the dollar drop, would that give you and other firms a sort of competitive advantage to help you hang on?
I'm not sure. I feel like it's a double-edged sword because while it may give us an advantage in order to export back into the U.S., at what cost does it come to Canadians over here? If there's less money in Canadians' pockets, that gives them less money to spend on goods like ours as well too.
Are you going to be okay?
I believe we will. I mean, Terry Fox taught us that everything is possible if you try. So we're not going to bury our head in the snow. We're going to wipe the sweat off our face with a towel instead of throwing it in, and we're just going to keep pushing harder. And if we receive support from the government, I think the opportunity exists to have a very thriving Canadian steel manufacturing market.
There's a good Canadian answer right there. So, Keenan, your job, as I understand it, is to help the steel industry flourish in this country. So, if that's to happen, where do you start? What needs to start happening?
Well, we need to, as a country and as provinces across this country that invest in our infrastructure, we need to make sure that going forward, that infrastructure is made with Canadian fabricators, Canadian steel, if we make it here in this country and with Canadian labor. Even before the tariffs, even before Donald Trump, we've documented billions of dollars of projects, taxpayer-funded projects, both federally and provincially, and then a lot of private sector projects that have gone overseas. And that's something, if we could get that spending back here into this country, that would go a long way to ameliorating the impacts of these tariffs.
So I don't know if that's a long-term thing, a short-term thing. I mean, we're talking weeks now before this happens. Is there anything that can happen in the next few weeks to make a difference?
Well, we can negotiate ourselves out of this. I think the big thing is, obviously, we need to let the Americans know that there will be pain, there will be impacts. On day one, Donald Trump, at the stroke of a pen, increased costs of pretty much every product and every project in the United States. Yeah, it's hurting us, but it's going to be hurting them as well. And that's what reciprocal tariffs are all about. It's going to hurt our industry for sure, but we know we have to do our patriotic duty.
A question that we get all the time from people, as we talk about Canada's success in exporting steel and aluminum, why does Canada need to import any? As a layperson, sometimes it doesn't make sense if Canada has so much of it and exports so much of it.
This is the thing with 30, 40 years under a free trade regime, right? Companies here in Hamilton, companies in the U.S. have found their niche within the continental supply chain. I mean, that was the whole purpose of NAFTA and then USMCA, CUSMA. And so the one thing that's really important for us to understand here in Canada, though, you think of your typical I-beam, right? What we call Y-flange in our industry.
That's something that
it holds up hospitals, schools,
right.
Apartment buildings. We don't make that here in Canada. We have 13 producers. Again, they're doing a really great job within their own supply chain, but there's just some things that we need to import here into Canada.
Can't Canada make that?
Well, I think that would cost a lot of money. I'm not saying we can't. We'd have to talk to some of the steel producers, but right now we don't.
So that's a long-term reality there. But as mayor, you've got a short-term situation here that in a few weeks, you might have people in great need. So how do you support them? What do they need to stay afloat?
The bottom line is we have services, we have programs, we have those kinds of things. What we need is jobs. Get the federal government and the provincial government engaged in local sourcing, both steel from Hamilton as well as other products. Who knows what the next shoe is going to be dropped, making sure that those supply chains are opened up, making sure that we're finding markets outside of the one across the border to help us get our goods to market. There's a lot of things. Not many of those are able to be leveraged locally, but what we certainly can do is fight for the jobs, for the investment, for the companies that are here in Hamilton. Our city has diversified its economy significantly, but steel is still, I think you called it, the beating heart of our city, and it certainly is tens of thousands of jobs.
But you need supports too, because you've got weeks. I mean, that's a great list, but I don't know how you do that in weeks.
Well, I mean, exactly. So we don't have the financial capacity to pour the money in to keep those workers working. But what we do have is the ability to make sure that we are leveraging our voice with the other orders of government to ensure that folks are not left stranded, to ensure that companies are not forced to close their doors.
Rahim, Donald Trump has said, listen, your problems would go away if you would just move your business to the United States and the workers that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to him and to Canadians about that?
I would say that's a non-starter for us. Insulin was created in Canada and is available to all Canadians. In the U.S., they charge $500 for it. That alone tells me what country I want to live in. I believe in the country. I believe in Canadians. I believe in our economy. We want to support the economy here and create jobs. And we believe that the manufacturing industry can thrive here with the right support from the government. Something like a GST break on goods that are made in Canada specifically could provide a huge boost to manufacturers like us, and on top of which it could help protect the Made in Canada brand, which is kind of getting diluted from companies that create the impression that their products are made in Canada or that they're Canadian companies when they actually aren't.
Okay, you're staying put?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mayor Horvath, Rahim, and Keenan, thank you very much. Appreciate you all taking the time for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, steel in Hamilton is much more than just an industry. It is central to almost everything.
Doesn't matter what job you're in, it's everything from tourism to just your local businesses.
Sam Sampson speaks to a community where the threat is very personal. That's next. In Hamilton, Ontario, the tariff threat casts a long shadow.
If you don't have money to go out to eat, to go buy things, the things that normally aren't the necessities, every business is going to be affected.
Here, steel isn't just a commodity, it is at the core of this community. Steel has been so central to Hamilton's economy for so long that the industry is just weaved through all kinds of businesses and generations of families. Sam Sampson shows us how they're preparing.
With a looming Canada-U.S. trade war, Hamilton, Ontario is on edge.
We make better steel than they make.
It could hurt our economy without a doubt, especially jobs.
Canada is facing a potential 25 or even 50% tariff on steel exports to the U.S. scheduled for mid-March, which could shake this steel hub.
It doesn't matter what job you're in. I know it always focuses on steel because, of course, Hamilton is a steel town, but it's everything from tourism to just your local businesses.
For decades, Hamilton has been known as Steel Town. It's home to one of the highest concentrations of steel manufacturing activity in Canada. So we wanted to know, how is Hamilton bracing for tariff impact?
He saved them.
He saved us. The Leshniaks have steel in their souls. Stephen retired after 36 years at Stelco, a Canadian steel giant. His son, Michael, has 15 years at the company. Even their cat was rescued from the plant.
We were watching CBC and they're talking tariffs, and my wife said to me, this is making my stomach churn. The steel industry in North America has always been cyclical, you know, ups and downs, good times, bad times. And this guy at the top in the States, he scares me because of the repercussions that could realistically appear in a very short time.
Stelco is owned by an American company whose CEO recently committed to no layoffs for 5 years. Michael is banking on that to make it to retirement.
Somehow they've managed to keep us working. I guess at this time I'm kind of, like you said, phased or emotionally adapted to it. A lot of the junior people, they definitely have a longer way to go than us senior guys. So they are the ones who are really concerned and really vocal about these circumstances that are occurring with regard to tariffs.
For local union president Ron Wells, this is a bit of deja vu. Trump imposed tariffs on steel during his first presidency in 2018, though they didn't last long.
We're hopeful if the tariffs do last as long as they did last time. It was a year last time. We're kind of like wait and see, right? I don't know what we can do to prepare, to be honest.
Why take that approach? Is it because of the uncertainty?
We're kind of in limbo right now. I think everyone's at the whim of what Trump's going to do next.
The concern is U.S. companies would go elsewhere for cheaper supplies. Some contracts are already getting canceled. If that continues, production could slow, some jobs could get cut, and that could have a ripple effect on the community.
If families in Hamilton are affected by the layoffs, that once they're rebudgeting and figuring out their finances, usually entertainment is the first to go.
Louise Rankin's family restaurant has stayed afloat in big part because of steel workers. How much of your clientele includes people who work at steel plants and mills?
I would say about 30%, which is pretty significant. Maybe 20 years ago, it would have been more like 75%. Most of the executives used to have lunch and dinner here.
What is your concern for Hamilton?
We're already struggling. If you drive through the city at any time, whether you're driving on King Street or Main Street, there are several buildings that are vacant, businesses that have closed down, businesses that have been around for 30 years. It's going to impact so many small businesses.
Clearly, it's on the minds of some customers too.
It's a sad situation. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it is going to affect Hamiltonians because our steel industry employs a lot of people.
Generally, I think we've got 4 years of chaos with that idiot in Washington. Because you're filming this, I won't say what I really think about him, but I think you just got 4 years of chaos where he's just going to cause all sorts of problems.
If you don't have money to go out to eat, to go buy things, the things that normally aren't the necessities, every business is going to be affected.
I actually have a pretty strict policy about talking politics at the bar.
We're breaking your rule right now.
You are.
Susan Walters has lived in Hamilton for more than 30 years. She's seen and heard how the city has evolved with the growth of agribusiness, health sciences, and of course, hospitality.
I think that we've invested a lot of time and energy as a city diversifying and kind of, we're not the steel town that we were 25, 30 years ago, and historically that industry has shrunk considerably from where it was at its kind of peak. So I don't think that, I think initially we'll kind of feel the pinch, but hopefully it's a short term.
This guy here, he owns a donut shop. He was started out in the old 10-9 mill.
For Stephen Leshniak, watching the steel industry contract sparked action. Since he retired, he became Stelco's unofficial historian, tracing the lives of thousands of past workers, a way for him to reflect on Steeltown's heyday and to stay connected as the industry again faces challenges.
It's a connectivity to people that I know, that I used to work with. What are you doing today? How is your health today? You make lifelong relationships at Stelco, you really do.
Through those magazines from the union and the company, Stephen told us he's been able to connect people with photos of their father, their grandfather, even their great-grandfathers who worked at Stelco.
Yeah, what a legacy steel has in Hamilton. But you touched on it a bit there, Sam. Steel isn't the be-all and end-all of that city right now.
That's right, and the city has worked really hard to bring in new industries. And so if you're roaming Hamilton, you ask about the impact of these tariffs, kind of depends on where you go and who you ask. But still, the city says about 10,000 people are directly employed by the steel sector here in this city. So if these tariffs do land, there might be a lot of families who are going to feel it.
Indeed. Sam Sampson in Hamilton, thank you. So Hamilton is just one of many places bracing for impact from the Trump tariff threat. In the coming weeks, we'll visit others, and we want your help to guide our coverage. So email us. Tell us how you, your neighbors, your community are confronting this challenge. You can reach us at thenational@cbc.ca. Well, coming up, risking it all to get that picture-perfect image.
Capturing it from the water, if anything goes wrong out there, it is life or death.
How this photographer shoots some of the world's biggest waves. That's next in our moment. With waves that are sometimes more than 30 meters tall, Nazaré, Portugal was once considered unsurfable. Well, today, only the boldest and bravest take that risk. But photographer Ben Hartley, who took that picture you just saw, often swims out there to capture the majesty of the ocean and the audacity of those athletes, even as the waves crash around him. So tonight, his daring photography makes our moment.
The power of the ocean makes me feel at the edge of death, but kind of at the fullest in my life. Last week, we had our first mega swell, which is like double XL, which is kind of over 60 foot. The way Nazaré kind of works is it's a canyon underwater. As the wave comes in, it gets super shallow, which is what makes that kind of wedge you see. The size of it is unmatched to anywhere in the world. You're getting these 100+ foot waves at some points. It's incredible, especially when you see a surfer ride it. It's like, whoa, it makes it so much more powerful to watch. I'm not sure how people do it, to be honest. They're all just incredibly brave people because, if anything goes wrong out there, it is life or death. Capturing it from the water. It's all about kind of being in a spot where no other photographer can be. If you get that shot inside the barrel with the surfer, you and that surfer are the only people that have witnessed that. And it's just the adrenaline you get from being in the water, being on the edge of death, that kind of thing. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I don't know, I just kind of love it.
Okay, wow. If you're wondering why is he swimming in those waves, he says he obviously tries not to be in the most dangerous part. He tries to stay in the more manageable conditions. But the first time he ever went there, he heard the sound and he asked a friend, was that a car crash? And they said, no, those are the waves. At 4 a.m., it thunders through Nazaré. It sounds magnificent. From all of us at the National, thanks for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.